But I like to live in the moment with each day because each day is such a treasure and the moments that we have with people. And I guess I don't have a plan other than I love what I do each day. It's not easy some days, but there's a lot of good things out of it. And there's a lot of adventure out there. And I just love it. I just love each passing moment because you don't know what tomorrow might bring, if there will be one.
Hi, Seth. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's Baraboo, so you made the jaunt over from downtown Baraboo to
It's a
here.
long hop, skip, jump over, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
when you messaged me, I'm like, "Oh, I got a few minutes," and then you're right
And
here.
boom, just like that, just
Yeah,
leaped over the Baraboo River and hey-oh, here I am.
here you are. So, if people don't know you, I'll just do a quick intro, but I would love for you to kind of go into it a little bit deeper. You are the director of Downtown Baraboo,
Correct.
and you also are a professional archaeologist.
Yep, I dig it. It had to come out at some point. Why
Yeah,
don't we
might
just
as well
get it out now?
get the one-liners out
Yep.
real quick. And that's like the exact reason why I wanted you on the podcast because I know you a little bit and I know that you have this history of archaeology and I know that you're a huge outdoorsy guy. And then all of a sudden, you're the face of Downtown Baraboo.
What a wild journey. It's like going through the board game of Candyland. You don't know what you're going to meander through. And that's just kind of like life, right? You want to be stagnant in one career, but life can just draw you to different directions. And that's what I've enjoyed going from being a full-time archaeologist. And I'm still a professional archaeologist. I still do plenty of work. Actually, I got a project lined up that I'm starting this weekend here in the area.
Oh,
But it's still veered me towards building up my skills to where now I'm working in a nonprofit field and promoting our wonderful, vibrant community of Baraboo. So yeah, it's an interesting tale of how I got from being that person, being a shovel bum, as we like to call ourselves as archaeologists, to now, how do I promote and support the local business scene and help people to shop local, dine local, and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's an interesting tale, I guess.
what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Oh, an archaeologist. I mean,
Okay, so from the get go.
absolutely. But little did I know at that time, it was a actual career. Being a kid, watching Indiana Jones, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, putting on that fedora as a kid, and my dad putting together like a little fake bullwhip, and find myself just running through the woods of our backyard just to think, oh, I'm looking for long lost artifacts, and it was just a joy, and I didn't know it was an actual career as an archaeologist until I was 19 years old. I was fresh out of high school year and I just lost my job at the local lumber yard and went with some friends out west to just go on a fun vacation and try to figure out what do I want to do with my life. And I sat on the beach and realized I like outdoors, I like history, and is there anything that I can do in that? And I came back home from California and went to the local library and found books on actual like archaeology. And I said, I want to be an archaeologist. And so I went forward and enrolled at UW Baraboo County, now UW Platteville Baraboo County, and where the dean actually had his PhD in archaeology.
Oh, wow.
And Dr. Tom Plager, took me under his wing, and he guided me into learning. Like, I want to do Mayan archaeology. I want to do like that amazing South American stuff, looking for those Mayan temples and other exotic stuff. But he showed me that Wisconsin is full of rich archaeology and human history, especially with indigenous pre-contact culture. And that's when I fell in love with, the Midwest and Wisconsin scene of what do we have in our own backyard that I can learn more and also give back in a sense to the present day.
So I also went to Boo U.
All
I
right.
am an alumni. The Baraboo area, not only is it rich in history, but we also are so lucky because we do have that college there that does give a lot of people a great start.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fantastic that these 2-year colleges, everyone thinks when you hear college, you think of that bustling metropolis of thousands of students with large lecture halls and maybe snobbish professors that won't give you the time of day. But that's what makes Boo U great. and still we call it Buyu,
I
right?
know I shouldn't call it that, but that's,
But we should absolutely, because it's so intimate like that, right? It's been so ingrained into our lives that the small campus that overlooks has a beautiful view of the Baraboo community, and you get to see Devil's Lake State Park in the background too, the east and west bluffs, and the panoramic scene of the Driftless for that matter. But it also has plenty to offer in terms of these wonderful faculty and staff that encourage you to dig deeper, to grow and learn and invigorate you with that sense of the Wisconsin idea, which was founding of the UW system, in terms of learn and then go back and give that to others, your knowledge, so then they can be inspired to grow more. And that's what I loved about BU, and I still love it.
yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the rich history of this area.
Yeah. Well, maybe for people that don't know what archaeology is, I'll just describe what it
For
is.
sure,
Yeah. The
yes.
definition of archaeology is the study of the human past through the things that people leave behind. So the old saying goes, one person's garbage is another person's treasure. That's basically archaeology in a sense. And so people leave plenty of things behind, whether it's a minute ago, like throwing that spoon in the garbage, or 1,000 years ago, leaving that arrowhead behind. We're always leaving something of ourselves back. And so the world is full of human history, and it's deep, it's vast and complex. So let's narrow it down to our area, the Baraboo, Sauk County, or the Baraboo Bluff Range, the Driftless. And so we know that there's been indigenous people here for countless generations, well before European contact. And what we can identify particularly, and I'll hone in on, is the mound culture, the effigy mound culture. And that is these mounds that have been built over 1,000 years ago in the shape of animal forms. So you've got the likes of long-tailed four-legged creatures. You've got round dome-shaped mounds that we call conical mounds. You've got mounds that look like serpents. You've got bird-shaped mounds with them on top of bluffs looking like they're flying across if you get an aerial view of them. And so that's just a small snippet
And they're
into
big, right? I
they are
mean, they're
they can
not
be
just these little tiny things.
no, they can be uh, wide as 20 feet to, with the bird effigy mound, they can go 300 feet. They can be as vast and large, and they can be from 2 feet high off the ground to as high as 6, 7, sometimes 15 feet off the ground, depending on how big and complex it was in their construction and their location. You see them all across Wisconsin, present day Wisconsin. You don't see them anywhere outside really of the Wisconsin boundaries. Sometimes you see them along the Mississippi River corridor with near the Driftless region, now by Prairie du Chien and La Crosse. You'll see some in northern Illinois, some in northeastern Iowa, but the heart of the effigy mound culture has always been in Wisconsin.
And what have you learned about them?
When it comes to archaeology, especially for the pre-contact period, so when I say by pre-contact, that is prior to European contact. So with that, there's not any written records. This is why they represent a bird or a turtle or a four-legged animal creature, a mammal. So we have to go under the assumption of the storytelling that's been presented from generation to generation. Like bird mounds, they represent an upper world, a spiritual world. These long-tailed creatures that are near like lakes and other aquatic settings represent a form of maybe the lower spirit world. And then there's, the four-legged mammal creatures that represent the earth world, the middle ground. One of the things that's really cool about this area in particular, about like Devil's Lake, is known as Devil's Lake. But with the Ho-Chunk Nation, it's called De-Wakachuk, which means spirit lake or sacred lake. And the folklore and the storytelling goes is that that was a space where the earth was created. And the story is that Mother Earth asked these spirits to re-cleanse the world and find the mud at the bottom of the lake and spread across renewal. So there's that also to take into consideration too. And you also want to be respectful of these stories and the culture, because these are very sacred sites. These mounds are cemeteries. They're ritual areas that, have withstood the test of time from erosion and also urban sprawl and the farms. And so, you have to be cognizant of these hold the remains of ancestors of indigenous people in the Ho-Chunk Nation. And so walking on them is prohibited. Um, doing anything around them, just being cognizant of how special and significant these things are on the landscape. I still do public education outreach for school groups and the general public on what is archaeology to dispel what do archaeologists actually do. It's not just grabbing a shovel. It's trying to understand the human past, as I've mentioned countless times before. So even if you do that Facebook Live 30 days ago and you keep it on Facebook, it's showcasing emotion and context of an event that was significant. Celebrate.
It makes sense that you would be interested in the process of storytelling for your own story. Have you ever thought about writing a book, or how do you want to preserve your own story and your own legacy?
That's a great question. People have told me that I should write a book because outside of archaeology, outside of Downtown Baraboo, as you mentioned before at the beginning, I'm a pretty outdoorsy person. I love outdoor recreation, from climbing, canoeing, kayaking, skiing, through backpacking. There's so much to enjoy and be immersed in our world, in the landscape. And so, I was actually talking to somebody today about few of my upcoming trips. Like, I'm going to be doing some stuff in the Boundary Waters. I usually go up once or twice a year, and I'm doing a multi-day solo canoe trip. And when I come back from doing those trips that have different arrays of outdoor type fun, whether they're a type 1 that's easy, fun, type 2, which could be, all right, forgot a few pieces of equipment, but we got by okay. Or the type 3 where the weather was miserable. I forgot this. I lost my food. A bear came and took my backpack. But it creates those memories and stories, right? It builds those things up. And so someday it would be pretty cool to do a book with, photos I take while out there with my camera, or some quotes that I've, remembered from reading a book, like whether it's something that inspired me from Sigurd Olson to Otto Leopold, whomever, Yvon Chouinard, but also putting in my own experiences of like, I was dealing with struggles of mental health, and I found myself coming back out of the woods feeling re-inspired, invigorated to get back out there and just keep moving forward with life. So maybe there might be a book. I don't know, but it'd be great.
You do have a website with some of your photography stuff on. I was doing a little bit of research. So that is something that you and I have that is similar, that I love being out in nature and taking pictures. And I do find that my mental health only improves when I'm out. For me, it's taking pictures of the little things, the little petals or the flowers. I find that when you stop and you just appreciate what's in front of you, and then because you have a passion for photography, then you capture it and you get to share it with other people. There's just something super magical about that.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And there's something of like zooming in, like you said, in those little details of a petal or the grass or something off a pine tree, or like that little droplet fresh after some rain. You just get that extra amplified quality of the world and just how small we are in comparison to how vast it is. And when it comes to photography, it's just been one of those things that has been that outlet for me to capture those moments, to look back on and go, I remember when I was hiking this, I was so deflated. I injured my ankle, I rolled my ankle, but you look back and like you made an incredible journey in that process and were able to capture that moment, or something that just brought some clarity and calmness to you, and you want to share that with others. I think that's like the great thing about photography, right? Is the sense of you want to try to capture a lot of the moments that are something very intimate and special to you, and you want to show that is conveyed in your photography, in that one image. And so, yeah, I don't know how else to put it, but photography has just always been that outlet to help me feel really into the earth and down to earth, and just happy with where I'm at.
Something that I really love doing is Milky Way photography. And it's way more difficult than
Yeah.
I've imagined it to be, to find the right spots to capture it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, I got to give you kudos because I don't know how to do night photography except for on my iPhone with the exposure. Technology's gone far,
Yeah.
but to see the stuff that you've done has been inspiring, because would love to learn how to do that. I think that's what's great about life. I think I mentioned to you earlier is how we continue to learn with each passing day, whether it's something that's challenging you and, your photos from the Milky Way photography or Northern Lights photography is just astounding. And it's like, okay, wow, how do you do that? And so you work with each other, right? To learn how one person, it's not a competition. It's like a collaboration of getting out there and just taking those new skills that you are obtaining and just knowing that's not going to be perfect the first time or the second time, the third time. Trust yourself, be patient with yourself.
Right. The first couple times I went out doing it, it wasn't great, but I started trying to figure out, okay, what am I even looking at? What is I'm in the Milky Way,
You're right.
but
But what the French toast is it? Where am I looking? Where am I going?
exactly, like, what am I photographing? And then it's just, our world is so small and we are so small. And just the fact that we're here is just absolutely magical.
Mm-hmm.
And sharing this moment together. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. And one of the things too, I was just talking with a friend. They just went on an Arizona trip with their own friends to take on some pretty challenging trails. And it's warm in the Southwest right now. Usually as always, especially in the desert. And a lot of times when I'm outdoor recreating or doing photography, it's typically solo because then like you're focused on yourself, you're focused on what you're trying to capture. But at the same time, you do that multiple times over, find yourself going, that sense of loneliness, right? But you're trying to capture something that will inspire others. And I'm at that point in my life where after doing countless multi-day backpacking trips or canoeing, where he's like, it's time to start inviting others into that space and enjoying the perspective of others. Going into like, I'm planning a multi-day trip with some friends that have never done backpacking before. Yeah, on the North Shore of Lake Superior on the Superior hiking trail. And I think that's, at first I could look at that as a big challenge in terms of, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to, lead them, carry them. They're going to probably struggle, who knows? But you got to look at it more as they're going to challenge you. You're going to push each other. You're going to grow together. You're going to see things in different ways. Like you might be standing there overlooking Lake Superior and going, oh, that's a large body of water. Or someone will go, hey, that's Lake Gitchagumi. What's the story? Like everyone will provide that extra zest and layer to the quality of that journey together and inspire each other to grow. And basically what I'm getting at is, yeah, it's good to just get out there in the world with others and just feel what everybody else is feeling and comprehend where we're all at. Especially, when you're in an event, like say, for selfish plug, Spring Fair on the Square. It's a kickoff it seems like a kickoff to the summer season for our community.
Right.
It starts as that opening bookend to all the things that are follow up after that, because then you have Concert in the Square, the Big Top Circus Parade. You've got Sunday markets. You've got people vacationing to Devil's Lake State Park and coming from places like Mirror Lake State Park. You got campers. You got all walks of life that are now school's out. Families are ready to go have some fun, and they're trying to figure out what their getaway is. And all these multiple events that try to attract people to come in. Yeah, the Spring Fair in the Square is a big one because we have over 200 handmade crafters that we close down the streets of downtown. You have live music all day. You've got food trucks. You're also trying to promote and market the small businesses that are down there, trying to thrive off that too. Because usually if the weather is nice, you get over 7,000 people down there on those streets. And here I am just kind of marching around going, trying to recruit up volunteers, be loud and proud, and just ride off that energy of seeing families making those moments, those memories with their kids, seeing the businesses feel successful, local, the non-brick and mortar vendors that are there that are just like, this is their day to brag and own it up. So there's a lot happening in that event. And when I go into it, I'm there at 4 a.m. in the morning, and the event doesn't start till 9. So I'm down there when it's completely still and quiet, and it's beautiful. But I know that the gates are about to open. And then the volunteers come in, and I try to get them excited, and we work off each other. It's, as I like to always say, teamwork makes the dream work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not perfect. There's plenty of mistakes that go along the way, but it's just, I always compare it to my whitewater rafting guide days, where you're venturing down a really fast river, and it could be smooth and steady and calm as you're paddling with your guests. But you take that turn, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a class 3 rapid. How do you handle it? How do you steer? If you just remain calm, you communicate, you be patient, you ride it, you'll come out learning something new. You'll feel some sense of victory, and you're ready to take on that next rapid.
Yeah. And you can't back, you can only go downstream.
You
So
can't
might as well
backstroke. No, absolutely. But yeah, in a day also when you're just completely overwhelmed by and consumed by all these people that you're also trying to please to an extent, you're also got to hold yourself accountable to take care of yourself. And that's something that I've learned with, especially with the events like Fair and Square or Christmas Light Parade, is you just try to hold your boundaries and hold yourself together, because yeah, it can get overwhelming. There can be some really timid moments, but it's just exciting to work off each other and just like be inspired and aspired of seeing a community just thrive, and these moments and memories for families and kids and the entertainers, the performers, and the vendors, and just walking around saying, how's your day going? Thank you for being here. Adding that little extra quality, because then you hear them go most often. Well, I try to think it's most often. We had a great day. And then there's some that, nope, it was not a good day. And they'll blame you for it. And you go, shucks, I really wish I could have done something for you to make it a really good day.
You're like, I tried.
I try.
What is your favorite event for Downtown Baraboo year round? What's the favorite?
Oh gosh. This is going to be funny. So I've been at this job now for well over 3 years. And when I first started, I had to plan the spring fair within 5 weeks, and it scared the heck out of me. And once it was done and it was live, it happened, and it was over, I ate that up. It was a beautiful time. But the one that I was not looking forward to the most was the Christmas Light Parade, because then I was learning off of the chamber and how they do the Baraboo Area Chamber, because they do the big top parade in the summer. And they had a committee of 13, 14 people. And I go, how am I going to put on a Christmas light parade? Because that's a Downtown Baraboo one. And that's the kickoff to the holiday season. So I want to make sure families and the kids are okay. Santa will be there. And I was horrified leading into it, because there was no business binder. There was no, here's what you do 3 months out. Here's what you do 2 months out. And so I remember I was at a outdoor climbing event, a multi-day outdoor climbing event through the American Alpine Club. And I remember waking up in my tent on night 1 at 1 a.m, having an anxiety attack. I was sweating. I was shaking, because it instantly popped in my head. The Christmas Light Parade is in 6 weeks. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm probably going to kill Christmas in Baraboo. And eventually came together. I was lucky to have the confidence in a lot of our well-esteemed members of our community that are seasoned veterans. And I went to them after I got back from my climbing event and said, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me, please? And they said, oh, Seth, we were going to help you this whole time. We're just waiting for you to ask. Go, well, better late than never. And that parade, when I first did it, it was also that day of a snow blizzard came through, and I was afraid we'd have to cancel it, because the low that night got to 15 degrees.
I was wondering if that was the really, really cold one.
That was the really, really cold one. So also my first parade, and it went off without a hitch. It was, everyone had fun from the floats. There was over 50 floats. Santa Claus came on the wagon. He was hoisted up on the fire truck and lit off the Christmas tree above the owl ringing marquee. And just hearing the band play and the people cheer, because we also made that year the people of the community were the grand marshals that year because we were fresh out of the COVID pandemic. So there was a couple of years we didn't have a parade. So again, no pressure on that too. But it was just great to feel the emotion and see everyone just live it up and cherish it. And that turned around from being the least favorite event to now my most favorite event that I look forward to every year.
The Christmas light parade is my favorite too.
Good.
And I don't have little children anymore, but there's something about the magic of a nighttime
Yeah.
and then Santa gets hoisted up and the band play. I mean,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
It is a beautiful time. And, luckily these past couple of years, it's not been as chilly and brisk as before, but it just keeps growing and the tradition just keeps growing too. And families, generations are continuing to come to it. And what's also great is how it's just such a unique moment where our community just comes and embraces each other in a time, especially in this day and age, where just there's so sense amount of feeling overwhelmed, stressed, of not knowing the uncertainties of whatever it is in our lives. And it's a nice moment where for an hour to 90 minutes, there's peace, there's there's joy, and just the hands holding each other, the hugs. Those are the little things that just really fill my cup in terms of this is magical.
And as Baraboo grows, how do you kind of see where is it headed? Do you know? Are you adding more events? Are you adding more parking? I mean, where does Baraboo stand, downtown Baraboo? Because it is such a special, again, back to the archaeology, it's almost sacred in a way because a lot of communities have just grown past without doing what we do. So how do you kind of keep that spirit alive but also encourage growth?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point because that's how human society has been forever since we first walked this earth. Is as we grew as populations, we grew more complex with our societies and our structure, and that's how it's always going to be. And with Baraboo, it's always been this unique historic sense of place, whether it's the circus heritage from the Ringling Brothers to having Devil's Lake State Park or Daywalkachuk in our backyard for outdoor recreation, the Dells just to the north of us for being a tourism extravaganza for the Midwest. But where does Baraboo fit into all of that? It's the sense I think that we have to, and I was thinking about in terms of future marketing, how do we market ourselves? And I thought of this tagline of we are modern history because we as a community and especially downtown Baraboo, we have these beautiful historic buildings that you see the date right up at the top that says 1886 or 1870. It's that stamp of when it was first established. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's endured. Like, fun fact about Baraboo, there was, I think, 2 downtown fires over time. Like, there's hotels. And so some of these buildings have withstood those moments of possible destruction. And they have such character and they're vibrant. But yet inside them are current businesses, whether they're a brand new entrepreneur that's taking on their first chapter as a young aspiring business owner, or a seasoned veteran that has been there for almost 20 plus years or more. It's modern history. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a wild way of looking at it. And so we are continuing to inspire growth through our small business scene and through this small town charm. But we're also trying to grow and evolve to keep up with trends and the times. And I know that, we need more parking down there. Uh, I don't know what to do about that. But, if we work together to try to find solutions that will help be attractive for folks to come on in and park and stay for a day and not have to be overwhelmed by, shoot, I only have 2 hours to park here and then I got to move my car to find another parking spot. Something will come. It always works together. As for events, as I always like to say, if you can't find something to do in Baraboo, that's on you. As there's always something happening here, whether it's a 5K, 10K race supporting the Boys and Girls Club, the fair on the square, a parade, or a small mocktail crawl. It's something that we started last year was mocktail crawls to focus on aspiring others to go out that don't like to drink alcohol. We're creating something unique that's attractive for everybody, that welcomes everybody, that's inclusive, and makes it a well-rounded experience for everyone to enjoy. The charm that we always compare Baraboo as like a Hallmark movie setting, or that Bedford Falls from It's a Wonderful Life, Mayberry from Andy Griffith Show, or what was it? What's that one from Gilmore Girls? The name of that town? Oh, okay. I don't either, but people have called it like it's the town from Gilmore Girls. So kudos to those fans for that show. But it just shows that we are compared to a lot of large scale entertainment, and we should take immense pride in that, because there's only one Baraboo, and we get to live here and experience it on a daily basis. And we shouldn't take that for granted.
I 100% agree. How do you promote Baraboo? What are some of your creative outlets as far as social media? Are you doing anything in print, or, how do you navigate the marketing side of it?
Yeah. So actually, we put out 2 seasonal maps each year, one in the summer, spring and summer, and another one for the winter. So we can promote with a map in there that shows all the businesses, our members, and also promoting upcoming events. So we have the hard copy stuff, as well as other hard materials being a part of other small magazines. The website, we have a brand new remodeled website that we have branded. We use social media to the utmost capacity possible. YouTube, just been getting into the YouTube scene with some unique small videos called How Do You Do Baraboo, promoting in 7 minutes a particular business, asking quirky, fun questions, but getting to a personal level about the people behind the businesses, of what inspired them to start their business. Why are they passionate for their particular, their business and what they do there, or a product? And also getting silly, like if you had a celebrity come into town that shopped, who would that celebrity you wish could see come through, or who would be encapsulated by your product? So we do all that stuff, a lot of multimedia with Downtown Baraboo. And we're getting bigger. We're continuing to grow. Just right now, we established a text messaging alert system. So if you sign up, you can get, like said, upcoming is the Spring Fair on the Square. We're going to send out a text alert saying, better get your mothers ready, because Mother's Day weekend, Fair on the Square, good time to get your mom a gift. Or we use an email alert system now for the public, where they want to sign up for a monthly newsletter. They can be in the know about all the things. So it's a sense of, if you're not in Downtown Bear, we want you to feel like you're getting a message from a place that feels so homey, and that you're always going to be one text or email away from us. And so we're constantly trying to evolve how we promote Baraboo in different means.
What celebrity would you like to see come to Baraboo?
Oh gosh.
Put you in the hot seat.
Let's see. What's the name of that actor? Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman, I think, would have a blast here. I feel like Baraboo is a combination of The Office and Parks and Rec. I feel like if we had that cast of characters come into town, especially the Parks and Rec team, they would fit right in. I think Ron Swanson would just have a heyday. He's got Devil's Lake. You got all these natural outdoor amenities. He'd probably be just trying to skip out of the office to go and paddle at Devil's Lake or on the Baby River.
Yeah.
So if we could have Nick Offerman show up here.
So I'll give you a hot tip.
Let's
Do you know
go.
Buddy Huffaker?
Yes.
Buddy has a link to Nick Did I say it right?
Offerman?
Offerman, yeah.
Okay. Because, Nick was on, I think, Leopold Week a couple years back, because that's one of the cool things is All Leopold Foundation is also a Downtown Bear member. And so it's great to promote them, collaborate with them on like Great Midwest Crane Fest and their Leopold Week that they do virtually. And I believe they had Nick Offerman on there for one of his books that he published.
I think so too, yeah. So, I mean, your dreams aren't that far off.
Well, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be messaging Buddy after this, going, Buddy, pal. So you know Nick.
Yeah, you just never know.
Yeah. I'm going to turn on you. What celebrity would you want to have come into Baraboo?
Ooh, that's a good, oh my gosh, that makes me
the tables
a
have
little
turned.
So it'd have to be some author that I look up to.
Sweet.
I'm going to take my time with this.
And I'm going to cue up the Jeopardy theme music.
Oh, you're making me nervous. Oh gosh.
It's a hard
Oprah.
one. Oprah.
I would love to have Oprah.
Now, I wish I could say that I had a connection or somebody that had a connection to Oprah. Yeah. I don't.
Or Brene Brown. Like, there's all these.
There we go.
Inspirational women.
Yeah.
I would like that to happen.
Can I just mention to you bring up a good point about women, is this community is just full of amazing women empowered businesses.
For sure.
And that's another additional magical luster to this community is you've got the spas, you've got boutiques, you've got consignment shops, and these women have just built their business up so well and successful. And that's what I love about that is they always work with each other in this community. And that's another thing is this community always works in tandem to try to help each other grow and aspire each other. And if they don't have the skills or the resources or the background or the knowledge, somebody's always going to be there to help you out.
It's so true. Yeah. And when you were just saying when you're listing up all these businesses, I see the faces of each of the businesses, and I think that's also super special is that the owners are in the business and they're guiding their employees and they're guiding their business.
We have well over 60, I think almost 80 businesses down in the business improvement district alone of downtown Baraboo. And they're small business. They are entrepreneurs. They come from all different backgrounds. A lot of them, what's great when I get to talk to these business owners and operators and managers is more often than not, I would probably say a percentage wise, probably 70% of them don't have like a business degree. It's a passion. And they're bringing their passion to life. They're bringing dreams come to life and seeing how successful they are. And you sit there or stand there as you're at the cash register or you're having, you're grabbing something to eat. You're getting this amazing quality product, not just in the terms of something that you purchased off the shelf, but that one-on-one interaction, the utmost amazing customer experience. And that makes, I think, people want to come back to our community every time is because they leave with a smile. You're greeted by the actual owner that's been working their butts off for countless hours a day. And they just love seeing you come in and embrace what they're putting on display for you.
Yeah, 100%. I love that about Baraboo as well. It feels like family downtown, maybe because I've had such a connection to the businesses, but I feel like even if somebody were to come in from Madison or Verona or Minneapolis, they would still feel that connection.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. When I went my first time ever going abroad to Germany, which was 2 years ago, went to these Christmas markets. And it felt like because those are also like small events like Fair and Square and such. But I felt like so at home because I was able to just feed off of living and breathing downtown Baraboo because it's family. Everyone's working together. Everyone's communicating. It's like I said, it's like an episode of Andy Gro's show because I'll walk down the street and it's small town. People like to gossip. People like to chat. But at the end of the day, we all just love each other and we value each other and we want each other to just do good and do good for our community. And it's just a joy that, yes, I think family is the perfect word that you put out there because we just always want the best for each other.
And to start kind of wrapping things up, where do you find yourself fitting in the next 5 years?
I don't know. I try to just live by the day.
Okay.
Because from my experience in my own personal life, our life is so fragile and short. You don't know if you could live to 80, you could live to 100 to just put out, maybe it's TMI, but I've had some of my best friends that passed away before the age of 40 from a heart attack or from just having a stroke. These natural causes, you just don't know. When I lose these close friends so in a traumatic way, it's changed my perspective on life where I should be an adult and have like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. And maybe I do. I just haven't really captured that yet. But I like to live in the moment with each day because each day is such a treasure and the moments that we have with people. And I guess I don't have a plan other than I love what I do each day. It's not easy some days, but there's a lot of good things out of it. And there's a lot of adventure out there. And I just love it. I just love each passing moment because you don't know what tomorrow might bring, if there will be one. I'm okay with just living it by the day.
Just live every day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard some days, but you just push through and appreciate it.
I'll end it with this. I'll keep adding a little bit more to it.
Sure.
So I was back in January was the 10-year anniversary of my best friend. unexpectedly passing away. I got to spend the whole day with him. We're getting ready for his wedding, and I was going to be his best man. We got fitted for tuxes. We spent a whole day just cherishing the adventure together, the day together. And I dropped him off at his home. 2 hours later, I got a phone call from his fiance that he died of a heart attack. And it's a story that I'm not afraid to share because, again, that radically changed my view and outlook on life, because I got blessed with the opportunity to spend one last day with my best friend in the whole world, my greatest friend, as I call him. Again, you don't know when things will end. So where I'm going with this is this past January is the 10-year anniversary of that. And I was just a 26-year-old that was fresh off the hills of going for my finalist interview for grad school and hoping to see where life will take me from there. And I made this narrative as I was reflecting on that day, because those traumatic moments, you remember every minute detail from the second, the minute, the reaction, everything. And I remember that 26-year-old me sitting there on the couch, just clean shaven, but just sobbing after just losing and realizing I just lost one of the most important people in my life. And I wrote in this narrative that I wish that the present me could go back in time and sit down next to that 26-year-old Seth and say, hey, yeah, I'm looking a little bushy and a little gray haired, but in the next 10 years, you are about to embark on the most incredible journey. You're going to go to grad school. You're going to go be a whitewater rafting guide. You're going to travel the country and do archaeology work. You're going to work for the National Park Service. You're going to fall in love. You're going to be grief-stricken from heartbreak. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get messy, and you're going to go on incredible journeys outside, and you're going to meet some wonderful people too along the way that are going to come and go. These next 10 years are going to be wonderful. Not going to be easy, but it's going to be a type 3 outdoor fun that you're going to look back and say, I did all that. So that's what I would say to that younger me 10 years ago, is just value the journey. It's going to be a wonderful one.
And isn't that kind of your favorite movie, at least at the holidays? It's a Wonderful Life.
It is. George Bailey, own it up. Yes. Value it, love it, live it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Steph. This has been a pleasure.
I'm going to put your show notes or links in the show notes, but how can people kind of follow along with Downtown Baraboo or yourself? Or
Sure.
both?
Yeah. So you can go on to downtownbaraboo.com. You can go on our Facebook and our Facebook and Instagram channels. So we've got Downtown Baraboo on Facebook, on Instagram, Big Sigh, TikTok, the lovely TikTok. And for me, if you want to follow me, I've got a page on Instagram that just displays photos. It's nothing that I go crazy with, but just love to share journeys. And then also I've got a photography page that for some reason I can't blank on what it is.
Is it Seth Taft Photography, possibly?
I think it is. That's right. The case of the Mondays. But yeah, you can follow me on there.
Anyways,
Yeah,
I'll find it.
I don't call myself a professional photographer by any means, but I love just what I capture and sharing. And so if you want to go on there, read some of my blogs, yeah, go for it. Have fun with it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steph. It's been a pleasure.